obviously, for us to make a draft like this, we obviously would have some sort of strategy against it, and we can't reveal it for obvious reasons as well. But you know, sometimes it's all about picking the lesser poison, so to speak.
I see. And very quickly, Ricky, did you see that one coming?
最后一个就是力挽，你有预测到会选这个英雄吗？没有。Absolutely not.
All right, well, we'll see if it works or not here. All will be revealed. Many puns on this one as we throw it to our casters.
Thank you, Sir Action Slacks. So yeah, they did not see the Ricky coming either. Can't say that's too big of a shot. I mean, we did say that they've played a lot against each other, so this is something they've obviously been hiding, and it is Ame playing it. So it will be a position 1 Ricky, and you know me, when we see a weird hero like this, gonna probably talk about it for the next 15 minutes or so.
You're gonna obsess over it for 60 minutes, and then we get 5 neutrals, and then that's the one thing that will get you more excited.
That is very accurate.
Ricky has a tendency to not go 60 minutes, though. This hero is not really a late game. I mean, actually, he is actually a pretty good late game hero, to be honest. But generally speaking, because of the nature of how it works, right, usually either crushes and takes over the game, or he falls flat and you kind of get crushed a lot of the time on a professional level. So I'm very interested to see this hero. And I also got to say, I'm a bit surprised to see Ame be gold tier on it. He passes the MR test just barely here by being gold tier Ricky. So has the permission to play it.
I mean, he doesn't want to get reported. It's understandable.
Yeah.
Don't want to have the low priority experience.
So usually the build on this here, if you want to cover it a little bit, because we can talk about whether that's going to work in this game or not. Most Rickies, when played as carry, will go for a Diffusal Blade into either Manta or BKB, and then you can consider 2 paths with either Basher or Ags, where you play around teammates, or you can try to go something like Scotty and really make yourself very strong with a Manta. In this game, I feel like the primary purpose of LGD picking this hero and what they're aiming for is to have a carry that just breaks up the fight and makes the supports uncomfortable, right? I think his goal is to get on the Shadow Demon, it's to get on this Mirana and just kill them, force them to buy Force Staffs, and then in case they get Force Staffed away, they have the Glimpse to bring them back. Ricky is going to give that vision for why to really get a lot of value out of Disruptor. So yeah, very interesting stuff. And most of the times, Ame has been, you know, hard carrying with someone. Sven earlier today, we've seen him in heroes like Terrorblade, Morphling, this kind of stuff. Ricky is different. I don't think, I mean, is he gonna just go Battlefield and farm?
I would love to see that, actually.
He has a Ring of Health queued up. I'm just saying, like, if he actually commits to this build, he might.
The build for a while, I mean, I don't know how long ago this was, but it was the, Battle Fury into Ags, right? Like maybe 3rd item Ags.
Yeah, I think so.
But since they, again, this is kind of old changes, but we haven't seen Ricky, haven't really gotten to talk about it, but Diffusal not that long ago, maybe a year ago, they made it a lot cheaper. A lot of people thought that Ricky would be a little bit more popular, which I think he was initially, but has completely dropped off, and we're gonna see this game if it was a good pick or not. But I mean, in theory, like we talked about, Smokescreen this game is very good. Drow is obviously going to itemize with like a Hurricane Pike or whatever, but Pango, XXS is going to have a lot of trouble, I feel like, against this hero, but we'll see.
The battle
XXS eyeing up the rune. He sees another hero, and then he's not eyeing it up anymore. So 2-for-2 trade, pretty standard. Both teams are covering their respective safe lane halves of bounty runes. And yeah, let's have a look at what Ricky's facing, because this hero, as we talked about, has very polarizing performances. This time around, going to be playing against Pango Mirana, so not a very traditional Mirana pairing, right? You don't have any sort of reliable setup to hit the arrow, so Boboka has to more or less do it on his own. If he wants to gank mid, there isn't something like Astral to set him up from an OD, which would be classic. It's Lina, so both heroes kind of want the setup. So I think Boboka has to do a really good job here to find major impact on the Mirana early on. Mid lane, Ember against Lina, covered that with Celery, says Ember should be just fine here farming. And then in the top lane, Visage and Primal Beast. Celery thought that Primal Visage was going to take over this lane. So with that in mind, maybe Aster, a little bit worrisome how the lanes have been set.
Yep, only time will tell. And like you said, Ori playing in the mid lane as Lina versus the Ember Spirit. Usually that ends up being kind of a wash to some degree. But there, I mean, what kind of gank potential do each sides have? Because obviously I mentioned ad nauseum the Siamese cat playing the Shadow Demon, a lot of the setup that he has available to him if he was able to roam, but he's going to be stuck in this safe lane for quite a while. As he's going to get jumped on by Jin-Q.
I was trying to get the range creep secure there, but it did get denied by Mane before he got there. So a lot of damage though.
A bit of damage.
Yeah, don't underestimate Onslaught as a level 1 spell. It's 110 physical damage and obviously positions you right on top of the hero. So packs quite the punch. These heroes in the dire safe lane, both 3 armor only.
Have the glimpse back on
good damage.
Success, but why? He's the one taking the brunt of the damage right now.
Yes.
Swashbuckle blocks him as well. And why? He does use his health salve and lives, but it gets instantly canceled. So a lot of economic damage here on the side of Aster.
I think what Boboka should do now is go courier hunting. Ricky and Disruptor have 0 tangos left, so if this courier delivery fails, I think they can start winning the lane on harassment. XXS on that Tango will be able to sustain quite a lot longer with Tango plus salve against these heroes, and the stick that he's going to get charges on every time there's a Blink Strike, every time there's tricks, every time there's Thunder Strike. Very great stick lane here. Both of them obviously running that immediately on these heroes. Disruptor currently ferrying out 2 mangoes, so they're not even sending down a Tango pack just
I mean, we
yet.
should also mention, since we don't see a whole lot of Ricky, but his base regen is kind of crazy. I think, is it 5? But it's 8 right now.
He has a Flag Bearer.
That's what the tower, yeah. Okay.
No.
So when the Flag Bearer dies, we're down to 6.
Now the extra one from the, so it's 5 base.
6 is
Still really high, really high, and he has high armor as well, so.
This lane is predominantly going to be in the in their tower, I think. So I believe Ame will be sitting on the 6 region most of the time, but now Boboka has opened up the big camp.
Onslaught onto Siamese Cat here on the Shadow Demon. As Jin-Q using the new set for Primal Beast. It's a lot of armor. You would think that would add a little bit of extra damage to his Onslaught, but he doesn't need it. He's first banned most games, so. But Monet off to a pretty good start, 15-6 in the CS, and you can see in the mid lane, 17-3 for the Lina on Ori, as nothing to say. Pretty close with 15-2, so kind of what we expected, a wash overall. But back to the original conversation with how much roaming potential each side has in terms of the ganking is. Why? Swashbuckle, and that ends up being first blood, going the way of XXS.
Yeah.
Ame still very healthy though.
This is what ends up happening when you don't have tangos for a minute and a half. Like, eventually they're going to waddle you down so much that you're in killing range, and Ricky doesn't offer much in the way of defense for his support. He can't really cover or anything, so. Yeah, good start there for Aster. Going to be very happy for them to get that on XXS. He's also going to get himself a nice little Flag Bearer creep there. Opting to currently eye up. Wait, what is he buying with this?
LSA connects, but limps back. Ori taking a lot of damage. TP is coming in from Boboka, but the last right click is enough from Y. So big kill for LGD here in the mid lane.
Yep. Great way of taking advantage of dying there. He gets the full refill and comes straight mid and finds a play. So good read from Y that is a possibility, punishing Ori in that lane. Looks like Pango's going Vanguard, by the way, to answer that my own question from earlier. Good item against the Visage, obviously. Pretty decent against Ricky as well. Wonder if we're going to see him build the full Crimson.
Yeah, possibility. Not the most common items these days.
It is nice for... I think the logic of buying items on Pango that protect Drow is pretty sound in this game. I think for Aster to find success in the later portions, this Drow has to have some sort of freedom to stand her ground and not just get run over by Ricky, by Primal Beast, by Ember.
Onslaught in with the trample. A lot of damage coming out onto Siamese Cat. Monet can't really do much, as that's going to lead to another kill on the Shadow Demon. Oh, Jin-Q now getting kited as Monet. Does he have actually enough damage here as a pause comes out? All right, what the horse happens now, Cinderin? Do they get the kill on this Primal Beast?
So Mane does not have multi-shot. Jin-Q does not have any stick. So yeah, Jin-Q's dead.
Okay.
There's 2 Visage illusions hitting him
Technically, I didn't give you any options. I said if he would die or not.
Okay,
so.
Is there another one?
Server crashes. I don't know.
I think that's the lower chance one.
Yeah, I think that one's a Hail Mary for Jin-Q here.
Yeah.
But they've killed the Shadow Demon now. Oh, actually, it's only the first death for Siamese Cat, actually.
Yeah, I think overall, if you get this trade as Aster, you're very happy. I think this is a lane that's very scary, the Visage Primal Beast, and trading support for them should be just fine. Especially with Mane getting the kill. So Jin-Q was the one who got the kill before. And arguably PSG could have maybe got this kill without dying.
Okay, not to interrupt. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Sir.
Okay, you're not.
Well, okay, we're going to restart this thing. It's been a while since we've done this. What the horse happens here? Okay. Jin-Q lives. Jin Q dies to Monet, or Jin Q dies to Siamese Cat. Because he has Shadow Poison.
Oh, that's true. The Shadow Poison and 2 Visage Illusions.
That's right, sure.
He dies to Monet, though.
He dies to Monet, okay.
Yeah. One more hit, the Visage Illusions are going to attack as well.
All right.
Maybe that's what they're discussing as well. Who's getting the kill?
Very important, of course. I mean, obviously, they would like it to go to Monet.
Yeah.
But in terms of a Drow game, overall, how does this feel for Aster?
I mean,
they've mid to late game.
They've got to be confident, right? They last picked it. They saw everything here. And I guess the good news for Drow is, first of all, she's empowering her own Lina, right? Which is it's going to make Ori's game a lot stronger if he goes some sort of physical build instead of the build that we've also seen with the Ags burst. I think he should go a physical route probably with Drow. You have the Pango for the front line, and you do have SD for the defense. So I think it's a solid Drow game, but it's also dangerous. It's one of those situations where if you get the right positioning, you're playing against Ricky, Primal Beast, and Ember, and they've used their mobility, you just crush them from range. But if they manage to get on top of you and say Shadow Demon is dead, you're kind of fighting for your life from the beginning of the fight. So I think it's
okay. Well, with that in mind, since we're talking about the
very
Persian
situational.
For Ame on Ricky, he already did get the Ring of Health that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Will he actually turn this into a Battle Fury? Or is that too greedy?
I mean, I don't know.
Because, again, Diffusal is a lot cheaper than in years past when Ricky was a little bit more popular.
I mean, let's look at it from the perspective of why else would you buy a Ring of Health? Right?
To live.
He already has really good base HP regen. He has good armor, and he's playing against a lane that's not that strong. So I don't know if he needs the ring for sustenance in the lane.
Oh, hold on. Jin Q. He will die to Siamese Cat.
See, so here's the thing. He got the passive block there.
Oh wow.
Yep, that's a factor we didn't consider. Whether he was going to block
when you
some
say
crowd
we,
damage.
you mean you.
You did not consider it either.
Faith Beyond getting kited a bit more now by Monet.
Good damage. He might actually kill him here.
Yeah, he could. Multi-shot is there, and that's going to be enough. TP is coming in now.
That's what you asked, right?
Jin Q, onslaught. Oh, gets gusted. Immediate cancellation. That would have been option D. They killed both of them, and they split it.
All right, so every prediction we had was actually wrong.
That is correct.
It's not even
Ori, he's going to get glimpsed back, but
nice disrupt on the chains.
Searing chains, not available here, but Ori will drop nonetheless. There's nothing to say with the Sleight of Fist.
Oh, and he's even going to get a regen rune here for his troubles. Just needs to wait until the Shadow Poison runs out, and they can pop it. They could dive here. I think, did SD see this rune be picked up by the... He did have a ward on it, so Pichu shouldn't be too surprised.
Has made the trip over as well, and he's hungry for some Shadow Demon. Disruption on himself. But this is going to just delay the inevitable here as another kill goes the way of PSG.LGD. Ori does connect on the LSA. Baboka's here as well, but they don't have enough lockdown.
No arrow
as
ready.
Ori was not, he's not quite level 6, so no Laguna Blade
has been killed.
would have been enough.
Important for LGD to be winning this mid lane because this top, I think this top lane went better for Aster than you could have hoped for. Monet being level 6 now against level 4 Visage. Close to level 5 at the very least for Faith Beyond, but let's say a full level advantage. I don't know if this kill... Okay, with Primal, it's definitely going to be possible. Yep, they're getting a great angle here on Monet.
Monet inside the kinetic field. All he can do is pop that multi-shot, and it looks like, oh, okay. Gusted away, but back with the glimpse, and Monet falls to the ground as PSG.LGD get another valuable kill.
Yeah, that's what happens when Shadow Demon has already rotated mid. He's not there for the immediate cover, and... they grab that nice kill. I wonder if Monet is even going to go back to top lane now. He might just go jungle. He's level 6. Has Tread's Wraithband. He farms pretty quickly in that jungle. You give the top lane to another hero and just accept that once in a while there's going to be some sort of dinosaur bus just driving by and killing your SD, and it's like, oh, well, whatever, you know. He'll go bottom for now with a dust. So looking to gank on his Drow minute 7, a classic play we see all the time.
Yeah, that is very interesting as Ame, we can see, is just going to have to watch that tier 1 tower fall.
Such an early tower. They didn't have a siege creep remaining either. There's just no resources for LGD to hold on to this.
Yep, we got the Searing Chains. Ori's in a lot of trouble, and there's the Trample Onslaught combo as Jin Q able to help finish off the Lina. Laguna Blade was used, but not to much avail. So PSG.LGD kind of all over the map. They do lose their tier 1 tower at the bot lane, though.
So far, their gank timings have been pretty pristine, right? Not only have they been successful in killing Ori 3 times, but it's all 2 out of 3 kills, I believe, have been exactly around the power rune timing. So nothing to say. Got the 6-minute regen after the first kill or the second kill, and now he got the illusion rune top after the third kill, minute 8. So very, very good rotation, especially from Jinkyu here on that primal. And Faith Beyond, because of the kill they found top beforehand, is level 6, so you can kind of leave him alone here. There's not many heroes that want to stand against Visage in the dire team. Shadow Demon doesn't enjoy it, Mirana doesn't enjoy it. Pango can. That might be what they're opting for once he gets the Vanguard. Maybe you just park XXS to try to defend that tower for as long as possible.
And nothing to say. Going to the high ground here onto Aster's side. He's going to find him a couple other heroes here from Aster, but the LSA is not going to be able to hit, so he just walks away casually.
Oh, a little bit of miscommunication there, missing the swash.
Disruption, but the Slide of Fist to buy some time, and the Remnant away, nothing to say is A-okay. And that bought the space for Faith Beyond to take the tier 1 tower. It was a slow one, but essentially soloed it.
All right.
Like you said, the Vanguard now online is Monet. He's going to get gone on here with the tricks of the trade from Ame. Kinetic Field's going to keep him in place. All he can really do is multi-shot, but gets the gust off. They have a little bit of vision, but ends up going away. As we're going to see a Laguna Blade used in the middle of the jungle here. That'll lead to a kill onto Jinkyu.
Nice escape there from Moni. He needs to be patient there with the gust. Just chill, get away. It'll TP in with a bit of a helping salve here from Pichu. We have an answer, by the way, of what Ricky is going to use the Ring of Health for. What do you think it is?
Nothing.
That is correct. He's buying Defusal.
I mean,
right.
Is there any reason to go Link in this game? Not really.
I mean, ultimately, you will turn this Ring of Health into an Abyssal, right? But it's quite...
Okay, like super late game.
It's quite far away. I have to say, I love this hero. I've played it quite a bit, but almost exclusively as support. I cannot explain to you why this Ring of Health is that valuable that you must buy it. Maybe there's some sort of logic to how you're able to farm when you're not laning, like if you can sustain better in the jungle, or maybe he just had a different read on the lane, that he needed it. I think now that we've seen the lane play out, it didn't really feel necessary. I don't know.
Yeah, that is true. As we can see the jump here onto Siamese Cat. Instant disruption as Jinkyu looking on the sideline for the bigger kill on Monet. Pulverize is there. They're going to be able to get the support right off the bat. The trample comes in. I think the gust actually missed here from Monet. He's going to get glimpsed back, and that is going to lead to a very valuable kill, although it goes to Y. Either way, PSG.LGD going to be very happy with this.
Yeah, they're going to still have their Static Storm intact, and Pulverize obviously a super short cooldown. So this support duo now of PSG.LGD has insane playmaking potential. Static Storm 90-second cooldown, Pulverize a measly 32. So a lot of opportunities to just go around, look for picks. As we've already established, they're very good at killing the enemy supports, but also the Lina. I think they would love to find Ori once more. And as long as they're playing together with Nothing to Say, I don't think there's any limitations for finding kills. The defensive possibilities that Aster have through the means of Moonlight Shadow, you just cover that with the dust, and the Shadow Demon Disruption most of the time will just set up a Static Storm, right? So you've got to be really, really careful as Aster now with how you play the map. Every time these heroes are missing, it's kind of a minefield.
XXS still in the mid lane right now, just chilling, has his Vanguard, and will be going for instantly pretty much the Crimson Guard Cinderin. Again, not the most popular item these days, but against the Visage makes a lot of sense.
The prize is mine.
And I mean, they have a lot of damage on this team, so maybe he doesn't really need to go what you would usually see on the Pangoliers these days.
The thing you could argue is that, is Crimson Guard actually a better defensive item for his team than if he goes Force Lotus, for example, right? So you have multiple ways of repositioning away from Ricky, of getting out of Searing Chains on the Ember. Because if he's itemizing this way for his Drow's sake, I don't think most players would buy the Crimson here in this tournament. So either it's because Aster have an idea of a specific timing with this item that they're going to try to force a good fight once it's online around Roche or around the mid tower, for example, to try to gain some ground. Or he feels like if he doesn't buy it, the Visage Birds are just too big of a problem.
Another pause here, but in terms of the flow of the game, would you say that you would favor one team at this stage?
I do like the look of this currently for LGD.
Shocker.
Well, first of all, they have a slight gold lead, and
yes, of course.
I don't think I think this Ricky got off to a very good start, and as we've talked about, pretty polarizing hero. But with the start that he
left hand to Ame, Laguna Blade to follow, but
No
The
backup.
trade, yeah, the Moonlight Shadow giving cover for Ori, but allows him to initiate, but nobody to follow it up with. As Y taking a lot of damage in the meantime, as the multi-shot is finishing him up from the high ground. There's the first rolling thunder of the game from XXS, but nothing to say with the Remnant in a way. Now Monet has to be careful, as there are familiars just completely surrounding him. Soul Assumption is there as well, and the last right click will do it. Now the Pulverize applied to XXS. All he can do, actually mitigates a lot of damage to that shield crash, but doesn't last as long as it used to. Not able to get the stun on the Faith Beyond, but the Searing Chains is there. So 3 kills for PSG.LGD.
We're talking a 10th of a second there from a totally different outcome, I think. Nothing to say, just barely gets off the activate Fire Remnant.
This is just the typical Ricky in pubs, man. Just hanging around, stealing some creeps here and there.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to get a replay on that, because I thought Aster in the position that they were in were actually going to win that fight when I saw the primal or the Pango roll come out. So look here where Ember ends up getting positioned now once the Pango comes out. So this is where Pango can usually find a perma chain stun, right?
Yeah, it's close.
If that connects, I think they might take down Nothing to Say. And obviously the remainder of the fight plays out completely differently. He's integral in every single kill to get afterwards. So imagine the Ember dying there. Maybe Aster take a pretty meaningful win. Instead they lose 3. And as you said, Ricky not involved in the mix. He's going to get a Diffusal Blade now. And Visage gets the Wraith Pact as well. So huge power spike now
very big
for LGD's lineup. And they will look to take full advantage.
Will be taken out.
Yep.
Just curious what the build Ame is going for. So obviously maxing Blink Strike and then Tricks of the Trade. So only 1 in Smokescreen for the moment. But
standard.
The AoE, does it still increase with each one? No.
No.
Okay. Well, it's been a while.
Yeah, you have a talent on 10 where you can take either that or the Blink Strike slow. I wonder what he's going to do here, because you can choose to go for a talent now. You could start putting more points into Smokescreen. If I were to guess, he probably takes the Blink Strike slow so he can stay on top of the Drow more easily. But there is something good to be said. I mean, the Smokescreen AoE talent is also pretty strong.
Baboke is going to get glimpsed back. He is Moonlight Shadowed, but they have the vision and they have the kill again as PSG.LGD looking extremely good at the moment. Sleight of Fist is going to connect onto 2 as the Moonlight Shadow is about to end here. Jin Q just posturing at the high ground.
I'm looking at the game state right now, and Aster initiating into LGD's team, and I just find it so hard to find the path. They're going to try here.
Purge to start, but an instant static storm onto XXS, but is it going to be follow-up? Not really. It delays and perhaps just ends this engagement entirely.
The thing that's so tough is that if you don't have superior vision as the Dire, you're running in against Slight Chains out of Fog, Glimpse, Ricky, who could be anywhere if he's not showing farming the top wave as he is right now, and a Primal Beast from Fog too. There's just so many uncertainties, and your heroes aren't naturally tanky. Your only real frontliner is the Pango with the Crimson Guard. If Lina gets caught, she's kind of toast. If Drow gets caught, she also still doesn't have that pike.
Well, thankfully for Aster, they made that change. So Primal Beast, when he uses Onslaught, you can hear it at the very least, the sound cue. But yeah, very, very scary to walk into this team for sure.
They will access their own jungle again, which is good news for Aster. They need a bit more area to work with. Also, Ori is going to complete the BKB in 100 golds, so maybe that's going to open things up a little bit more for them.
I mean, talk to me, again, back to the Ricky, as you know I'm going to go here again.
Yeah.
With a typical carry that we've been seeing a lot from PSG.LGD, if you're up 5K at this stage, is that like extremely good news as a Ricky? Because he hasn't been involved at all. So I feel like this is just going to get amplified now as he starts to actually show up in these fights. As Siamese Cat looks like he's got to self-disrupt.
Good arrow.
Sassy wants to go for the roll. Faking it out here a bit. There's nothing to say. Does finish off Siamese Cat with that last Slight Fist, but away he goes as PSG.LGD.
Oh, they got
very
the
confident. Big glimpse into the Static Storm and Pulverize. No chance for XXS as he does not have his shard. Obviously, that is going to be the big counter to that.
Dire's bottom tower.
And we'll see if PSG.LGD wants to try to go for the old Roche.
That's a good point. I actually think Pango should be buying the shard now. It's really, really valuable. But to answer your question from before, being 5k gold ahead is indeed good, yes.
Okay. That's it's double checking.
Being 5k gold up at 15 minutes is good. And if Ricky was another carry, it would also be good because he's ahead by 5k. So yes, that is correct.
Well, it's a carry that hasn't done anything yet, really.
Yeah, if another carry also had done anything, being 5k up would be pretty good.
All right, I see your point. Thank you, Cinder.
You're welcome. It was a great question. Always here to help.
As we're going to see a big smoke now from PSG.LGD. Roche is at a half HP right now. They don't want to fight it, or they don't want to take it out quite yet because everybody from Aster is up here on the high ground. But they're going to try to pounce onto Ori. He's going to run right into the familiars, but they're going to go for the D-wards first instead. But there's the glimpse back. Instant stun. Here comes the rolling thunder from XXS. He's not really going to connect initially. He's nothing to say. Comes in with a big slight and the BKB proc with Ori. He's going to return the favor with the BKB of his own. Kind of a weird engagement here as XXS now.
They have glimpse again in 2.
The other side. But no deaths out of that fight.
That was a very clever way that PSG engaged that, and also a good response from Aster. So what LGD realizes, the one thing they need to not happen is that they get clumped up and get pango rolled, and then the artillery just starts going to town with the Drow as well as Lina. So what they do is they poke and force out the pango roll, and then they just disengage. And now that it's on cooldown,
no
they can go.
BKB, Ori, Soul Assumption is there, smoke screen as well, he's done. Monet gets a pretty good multi-shot, but this is going the way of PSG.LGD for sure. 2-0 to start it. Nothing to say is not done here quite yet. Gets the Searing Chains off, but the Disruption's going to delay this just for a little bit. Faith Beyond continuing with his familiars, but Monet just ticking down ever so slowly. Another gust, but there's the Blink Strike from Ame. Double kill for him. Tricks of the trade, but Blink Strike back into the fray, and that's a 4th kill going the way of LGD, and this should be a free Roche as well. Ricky is owning.
Yeah. He got his defusal, he came online, and he's joining. And yeah, I mean, you're starting to see part of the reason, or maybe the whole reason, that Ricky was the choice here for LGD among a plethora of options that would have worked against this dire lineup. They went for this one. And he's hounding those supports, and he's hounding that Lina. So again, with that fight we just had, as we see the replay here, that what led to this is effectively pango rolls on cooldown from the poke that LGD did at the outpost, and so is Lina's BKB. So I think Aster making a pretty crucial mistake here, even being positioned in that spot. I think they have no business trying to even look for a fight.
Yeah.
The pango roll is just too big a part of their lineup. When that's on cooldown, you got to play way more defensively than that. His hand is kind of forced when Ori gets caught. They're trying to help, but the help a friend syndrome effectively there just gets 4 heroes killed instead of 1.
Yeah, and by the way, for the Ring of Health watchers out there, it is now in Ame's backpack, so very valuable spot right now.
Yeah.
A little passive 0 regen at the moment.
He's banking on a little bit of a macroeconomic change here. Gold goes up in value, and then it is a gold ring, right? I think so. Let's call it.
It looks gold.
Radiant's bottom
So
tower
maybe it
is
will
under
increase
attack.
in price. What do you think about that as a concept? What if items sold for more and more gold the later the game went? That sounds really terrible.
Then you can just replace your items.
Yep, that's a really awful idea. Thank you, Sir Action Slacks, for that. Goes right in the bag with Lycan Axe.
Now, Lycan Axe is cool. That was his, I mean,
Radiant's middle tower is
a
under
broken
attack.
clock is right twice a day. That's what I think of Slacks in general. So
I kind of like that. Whenever I have a really stupid idea, I'll just say it was Slacks and everyone will believe me, I think. That's good.
yeah, that's fake news right there.
I'm gonna start doing
Fortification
that.
pop by Aster as they are at a 7K network, make it 8 deficit at only 21 minutes. This is turning into a shellacking for sure.
And the thing is, it's not only about the gold, it's about the flow of the map, right? Like, you can be 8K gold behind, but maybe still have some sort of a meaningful direction you can find in the game. It's just terrifying. I mean, look at Nothing to Say.
XXS, he's trying to get up. His Rolling Thunder, he does.
Nice swash.
He just attempts to TP away. I doubt they will try to fight this. But Jin Q takes a Demonic Purge. Siamese Cat's dead.
Yeah, this tower's lost now because you don't have Pango, so. And another instance where it feels like Aster would have been wiser to not even bother to be here. I just think these fights are too difficult, and they end up just feeding over a key cooldown here in the Pangold as well as their Shadow Demon's life to no avail, really. As PSG.LGD wanted to be there with their heroes anyway, so it's not like you didn't get any meaningful trade like damage on a tower or a power rune or anything of that kind. The Invis rune still sitting bottom, and gonna see who's gonna grab this. It is an interesting rune to take on, not Ricky, Shannon. You could take it on
But the voice line is so rare.
That's true. It is a good voice line.
Trying to walk away here. Onslaught. Oh, he does see him, but gets gusted. But the glimpse back, that was just enough into the Static Storm. Trample as well, but Ori pops the BKB, gets the LSA to be able to cancel it. They do get the kill onto the Primal Beast, but there's a disruption to save Monet, but not for long enough. Down goes the Drow again. Demonic Purge on the Nothing to Say, and his Remnant's going to be really slow as a result, but he has the cover of his teammates. Shadow Demon dead. Ori basically out of mana, and that means they can now initiate, but the Moonlight Shadow giving him cover.
It's running out
Only
now.
coming from XXS. Nice blink onto 2 heroes. Here comes a nice Starstorm as well. Nothing to say. Gets stunned again. Do they have enough? They do. Big kill for Aster. Need to get more out of this, though. Swashbuckle onto Y, but now they're going to control XXS as he is within arm's reach of the Riki and the smoke screen, and down he goes. So it ends up being a 4 for 2, and the Age is still intact.
Dire's bottom tower is under
And in the
attack.
meantime, off to the side, Ame did kill off Ori in the trees. Ori tried to stick to get the mana for a stun, but immediately got smokescreen diffusal burned. There was just no way out of that. So another... It's kind of interesting that LGD's gold lead is barely growing from that fight, but I guess the Ember kill was just worth that much. He was 6-0 after all. Maybe there, if Mane pikes the Primal Beast instead of forcing himself, perhaps this goes a little bit better. And I think he could have maybe killed the Primal from behind the tower before he got glimpsed, and Lina doesn't have to expend spells on this, but it's so easy to say. Like, you're obviously going to go off a gut reaction there on what you can do.
We got the trample out of Invis from Jin Q, but Hurricane Pike back into the glimpse and the Static Storm as well, but I don't think nothing to say can go any further as the pressure is being applied onto Y. XXS wants to finish him off, and they will be able to do so. Nothing to say, has to pop the BKB now in retreat. By the way, I wanted to talk about Jin Q's build. He's going for Halberd on Primal Beast, which, I mean, normally we would see BKB. Is this a little, that doesn't feel like he needs it? Or is this because they feel like they're really far ahead right now?
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, I kind of agree that BKB looks very strong, because you do have some quite limited freedom against a hero like Pango. Maybe part of the logic is Demonic Purge just ruins you after you've gone in, so maybe he wants to have that extra utility instead to control the Drow with the disarm. In a way, or maybe he just wants to go in and tank, right? If the goal here is that he makes space for his teammates, if you go BKB on Primal, what happens a lot of the time is that the enemy team is not going to go on you because they can't kill you. With this, he has way more EHP because he has the evasion, and he has that active disarm that he can maybe force a BKB with, or rather not force a BKB with, but keep himself alive if he charges the Drow and just halberds her, or the Lina, and then just soak damage while his team just cleans house. It's a different approach from
they
what
also
I think
have,
almost everyone else would take, but I kind of like it here, actually.
Like, even if you BKB pulverize somebody, there's always the disruption possibility to save the teammate anyway. So
Absolutely.
it's an interesting kind of, I mean, we joke all the time about Primal Beast and his build being basically like the first 2 items exactly the same every single game, and BKB is almost always one of them. But not to be. He's going to be going Halberd into Shivas, it looks like, to now have Moonlight Shadow by Aster.
It's also worth keeping in mind you have the luxury of thinking about the game entirely differently when you're a 4, right? The BKB is almost always a thing on the 3 Primal because you have a bigger responsibility to deal damage. But Jinku's role in this game is more of a controlling nature than a killing one. So he's just going to charge in, mess up the fight, make space.
Oh, LSA connects. Laguna Blade as well. Static Storm just for defensive measure, but it's not enough. Nothing to say is dead. Does have the buyback. Not sure if he wants to use it in this engagement. It looks like they're going to lose their Primal Beast as well.
Okay.
Nice setup there by Aster, baiting the rune.
That ward, value for them, getting that Ember kill, and the Primal Beast trying to help out. Gives them a little bit of a bonus kill, and that's also going to be a mid-tier 1 tower. The good news for them is Roche cannot be up yet, so LGD will not be losing that, but they lose quite a bit of ground. This is the start of a potential comeback for Aster into this game. Do they get a meaningful item out of this? So Lina's going to finish Silver Edge, so they have that break now.
Monet
and the
BKB about to come as well.
Yeah, Monet BKB. That was a very important moment for Aster because of what it leads to now in terms of just a little bit of downtime, and getting these 2 specific items now opens up a possibility for them to maybe make more out of this.
The prize is mine.
Ame closing in on his BKB. I was wondering if he was going to go for that or something else, but has opted to go that route. This is the kind of game where you could maybe justify not getting that magic immunity, but getting more in the way of like a Basher, or I don't know if you want to be cute and buy Ags on the and jump into Ember or something like that.
I mean, it's pretty good.
It is pretty good, but I think you need more damage before that becomes meaningful. I think you want the Basher first most of the time before you do that. So
is that enough?
Of illusion.
You don't need like a Daedalus or some hardcore item?
I mean, it depends on the target, right? It feels really good because Ember offers you the immunity of the BKB, right? So you don't really need to worry about the protection when you go in. So you get to do a lot
Mindbreaker,
of
though,
damage.
pretty freaking good on Ricky.
Yeah.
Instant blink strike silence, so you don't have to smoke screen immediately. You have a little bit extra time.
He kills Shadow Demon in a heartbeat, basically.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a Force Staff, so if he just jumps him, he's dead. Interesting, by the way, to see that from Aster. Nobody bought one except the Drow.
About what? The Force?
Yeah, so they're eyeing it up now on the Mirana, but he opted to go for the Wraith Pact first, which is understandable. Like, that item is, of course, very, very powerful in this meta and the way teams are playing. But Siamese Cat's game is just that bad that he's not even close. He's going
He's got
for
the poor man's Force Staff, which is the Tumbler's toy, which gets deactivated when you take damage.
Yep.
Not so helpful, maybe.
Q.
Q instantly silenced and deleted off the map.
Oh, they
Actually
found
find
Ame, too!
but he pops the BKB. But obviously, for the first BKB, not the type of usage that he would have wanted.
What is it with this game and LGD getting BKBs off with like no time before that would connect again? Am I missing something about that change where you can BKB between Pango rolls? Is it just me overhyping something that doesn't exist here? Because you remember that, right?
I do, and I'm forgetting the details as well.
So Rolling Thunder used to be a perma-stun if you stayed on top of the targets, right? So the internal cooldown was low enough. I think with level 2 Rolling Thunder, the stun is long enough because it scales up and there's no status resistance on the Ricky. So I want to say that Ricky and Ember can get chain stunned by a roll level 2, but you're the Pango player, so you can definitely tell me.
Yeah, moving on. I can't remember.
I do think it needs to be level 2 before it's permanent.
I mean, that was mostly for the change, for the shard, right? When you're rolling Thunder and then you just shard on top of them.
Oh, speaking of which.
Yep, that's going to be the deletion of XXS. LGD want to fight immediately. Shadow Demon's going to get, well, nice disruption on self, so it's going to cancel the glimpse, but he still will have to cancel his own life, and this could lead to Roche.
Aster just got a great comeback, and now they get caught off in the middle on their Pango, and this is just a free Roshan. I don't see what's stopping LGD from doing this. Well, they're going to de-ward first.
That ward looks pretty juicy.
Cover the area. AC on Visage should make this a lot easier, and you know, whenever Ricky is with any sort of teammates doing the Roche, he's actually not the worst Roche killer in the world, because you get backstab on every attack until Roche randomly decides to target you for some reason.
Yeah, it feels like Roche really hates Ricky. Yeah, that's for sure. Just like
the shard is going to go on Ricky. So now we'll get that sleeping dart. Very, very good shard. I mean, the primary reason that for Ricky was actually even a thing after shards came out, because it used to be a thing before shard even existed, and then it just faded away from existence for like 2 or 3 years.
What was the mean build was sleep dart into
Meteor Hammer,
right?
yeah.
I don't think we're going to be seeing that just going out.
Yeah, I don't think so here.
Oh, the Gust coming out. XXS gets the Blink Dagger off. Visage is taking a lot of damage. It's going to be enough to actually get beautiful rolls coming out from XXS. They take him out 2-0 to start this fight. But Ori, stuck inside of no man's land, he gets brought down to his knees. Buyback coming out of the Disruptor now, but look, the heroes from PSG.LGD are very low. They're going to lose the Aegis pretty much right off the bat as well. Now he's surrounded, pops the BKB, trying to focus down the Shadow Demon. The Disruption comes out, but nope, not going to be enough. Nothing to say with the Sleight of Fist. Double kill for Ame. So PSG.LGD, I mean, I don't even know who won that fight. There was a buyback coming out. They lose the Aegis. It would have been really bad if they didn't have Aegis.
I think given the fact that there was an Aegis on the other team, I think Aster should be happy with this. And I love the way they executed it. They chain stunned and killed Visage 100-0. They recognized that there's no defensive tools to keep him alive for LGD, and he's the aura carrier. They get the Wraith Pact and the AC out of the fight by killing this guy. So choosing that as your primary target here, very, very good. So look at this. So Pango roll stun is going to turn there with the shard, stun again. And he's trying now to use the shard on Visage, but does just barely get killed. If that shard goes off and he gets Stone Farm cast there, I think Aster loses this fight horribly, because then the AC is in play.
Yeah.
And the Vlads while he's immune there. So very, very important that they find that finish.
Not too shabby. As Ame now working on the Eye of Scotty. And actually not that far away.
This is a moment that Aster could be looking to do something with. They used Moonlight Shadow and have a bottled DD.
Man, there's a lot of invis. There's a Ricky, there's Moonlight Shadow, there's Silver Edge, and I believe Aghanim Scepter soon for Visage. Sentries are going to be kind of game-winning, I feel like.
I wonder if Axe is the right choice on Visage, if that's the best item he can buy here. Does feel like something like Hex could be valuable, or Like, does he have that much responsibility to do damage here is my question. Like, when you're offering these 2 auras to your team already, maybe you can get more in the way of utility or survivability. I guess Ags is like a little bit of survivability, but I don't know. Not sure if Ags is the best purchase.
Well, Aster do have their first 4 staff now, outside of Monet, of course.
Don't have Moonlight, so are they going to be spotted here? There's Glimpse.
Yep, the
forcing
glimpse
BKB
back.
probably.
Monet, he's going to get disrupted, so doesn't need to pop it, but the Mirana is going to die for her sins. Monet pops the BKB inside that static storm. There's nothing to say. He's getting melted inside. Gets off the sleight of fist and able to remnant away. And now Ame trying to focus on Monet, but has to reset. Buyback coming out of the Shadow Demon, as it looks like Jin Q falls to XXS. And the fight ends up resetting here. 6K lead for PSG.LGD. And in terms of the net worth swing, it's kind of even because of the buyback.
Aster are doing a great job after being under the amount of pressure we talked about and the type of lineup they're playing into. I think it's very admirable how they've managed to kind of stabilize this game in a range that seems very winnable. I want to point out, we were talking about, at least, maybe I didn't get to say that, but Ricky was considering a nullifier before, but he changed his mind, so Ame's not going to go for the Eye of Scotty. He's going to have more tank ability. He's going to have that reliable slow, which nullifier also offers, obviously, to an extent, but he's playing against these BKBs, so opting to get that Scotty so he can, maybe just for the sake of, I just want to stay on Drow. Like, literally just be on top of her, pressure her out of that marksmanship.
Don't forget the Ring of Health.
And he still has the Ring of Health, yes.
Oh,
he sold
just sold it. Okay.
It was an investment.
Well, he bought it and used it, I want to say, for 10 minutes. Is that an exaggeration?
Nope. That's about right.
That
it's
maybe we can get a little timer next time we see the Ricky pick. And
I was paying attention to, like, okay, when he's farming jungle, is he getting a lot of value out of the Ring of Health? If he didn't have it, I think he was full of health the whole time, basically. So might have been fine either way. Well, at the end of the day, the Ring of Health only costs half of what he paid, right? Because he gets the refund. So
very true.
XXS
gets off a nice rolling thunder, trying to control the disruptor. Only gets the 1 stun though, as Monet pops the BKB, but there's nothing to say. He's all alone here on the high ground. Gets up the sleight of fist, and the Remnant's able to buy enough distance to live. And a rolling thunder continuing to go for XXS. Ame able to get the tricks of the trade off onto the low ground with the blink strike. They've lost their primal beast.
Aster stands so strong in this position. This is like the dream spot to play Drow Shadow Demon. You have the hill. Shadow Demon gets to play keep away in the back and get a good disruption out. You just need to outlast this BKB on the Ricky and on the Ember, and they can't fight you anymore. So LGD really trying to put that pressure onto Aster and get control of another area of the map, but Aster are just ready for it. They have good formation. Another great rolling thunder once again from XXS just took Disruptor out of the fight from the beginning.
Ori trying to delete the Disruptor, 1 right click away. They will find him. It looks like the force staff ends. The Shadow Demon gets to the Disruption just in time, and nothing to say melts. Ame gets the blink strike off. Make it 2 now as Faith Beyond kind of stuck. I believe he used the shard here to keep himself alive for the time being. That's going to set up a potential stun from the LSA. Now the right clicks come, and that should be more than enough damage for Aster to eat through 2 cores for PSG.LGD. And the tier 2 tower will fall as well.
This game, minute 22, Gaben gave Radiant 88% chance of winning.
And then Ricky started fighting, and suddenly
he sold his Ring of Health, and it's been downhill ever since. We're down to
technically true.
67% chance now for Aster.
Man.
Not that the graphs are gospel, but it is looking very good for them. Ember no buyback, Visage half a minute. Aster going to try to squeeze as much out of this as they can. And this is what Drow lineups do when they win a team fight.
Indeed.
Bye-bye Barracks, 5-second push to take both of those out after the tower falls. Aster now taking control of the game, and you would imagine if they get this 3rd Roche, they will be feeling very, very confident about taking the win here after a rough early mid-game. Just weathered the storm, had good positioning, and to me, once again, XXS Pango showing why they rated this hero as they did when they picked it.
Yeah, once he got the Blink Dagger, he has been on point with these Rolling Thunders, no doubt. And he has a little Shivas.
Yeah,
where did that come from?
Very tanky.
Gracious me.
Yep.
Well, at this point, what does PSG.LGD need to do? Because it feels like they're trying to force these fights, and like you said, the positioning from Aster has just been on point. They've been ready, it feels like, for every little engagement.
I think LGD needs to be wiser about the areas that they fight in. I think the last 2 or 3 team fights they've lost have been on Aster high grounds, where they have tried to get in and get superior vision, but the Pango's just been ready every time and canceled out the Disruptor from the fight. maybe you chill. Maybe you farm up this Ags on Y, and you try to use that to set up a fight later. You just need to cool down. If you start forcing now, like brute forcing more aggressive plays, I think it's just going to backfire even harder.
He is only 500 away from Ags.
It's close. Faith Beyond, by the way, went for a Force Staff. He changed his mind away from that Ags himself because he's realizing, well, when they get on top of me, I'm kind of screwed. With this item, he can reposition away from the Drow and the Lina and try to stay alive. And arguably, this should have been on one of the supports, right? I feel like it's something I've been harping on a bit in this playoff. I think teams are buying Force Staff too little. One of the teams that's been doing it very successfully a lot of the time, I want to say, is Tundra. They've been buying quite a lot of Force Staffs in their games, if I'm not mistaken, and really take advantage of that positioning.
Oh, we got a smoke here from Aster. And you can see Ricky has the double damage. Static Storm immediately used, but again, the Rolling Thunder from XXS, but no, the BKB comes out from Ame, not able to get the double stun off here. So Aster might be wanting to retreat, as Baboka will live through this. We're getting some D-ward action down. Not sure if either team wants to fight again. Another Shadow Blade. Man, so much invis in this game. And Roche. This could be game deciding on either side, really. Imagine getting an Ags on, like, Ricky, for example. After going for this, it looks like Nothing to Say went for the Daedalus, or is going for it now.
Do you think they'll give it to Ricky or to Ember? Is my question.
Probably Ember.
The Ember one is also really valuable. I think Nothing to Say is running out of remnants.
It matters not. It's a refresher shard.
That was a good talk.
Yep. Keep talking about it if you want, though. No problem.
Only 20 minutes and 30 seconds away from tier 5 neutral items, Shannon. Better prepare.
Oh, one of these days. I'm gonna get it.
It's nothing you want more in Dota.
That's true.
Than for pro games to go 60 minutes so you can talk about your items.
That's right.
And I think all the time we've cast together it's happened once.
Moonlight Shadow. Faith Beyond.
Another good Rolling Thunder.
Finds Ame, LSC, and the Laguna Blade. He's dead. No buyback at all as Ori. His right clicks are not something you can ignore. They are able to find the Mirana, though, so it's a 1-for-1. But again, much more value kill coming out from Aster. And now Roche, they're going to see he's up. They scouted out.
Just another amazing Rolling Thunder from XXS, and that time around gets connected on a max duration arrow onto Ricky. Did not get Force Staffed by Faith Beyond out of that stun chain. And as we covered, no defensive tools really aside from that. Glimpse will send XXS away, but he's just playing zone control, getting that refresher over to Lina, and they will be like, you know what, XXS, your Rolling Thunders have been pretty good, so you can have a second one.
Yeah.
Give him the shard.
They don't really have the best refresher shard heroes, other than obviously the BKBs. Which
it's pretty decent on Lina, but I guess she can't support it yet with her item build. She doesn't have enough mana with the right-click build.
Yeah, nowhere near.
So.
Maybe she had like a Shiva's or something. But now the MKB online for Ori, so even if the BKB is down, smoke screen, you can just kind of ignore it for the most part. Or just right-clicking at least. Tier 1 tower is dead now, so Aster flipping this game completely around. What does LGD need to do? High ground defense time?
They're going to be forced into that position more than likely, right? The problem is their lineup is largely built around playing from ahead, right? You have Primal Beast who wants to charge in and take command of the fight and then glimpse heroes back, but once you're on defense, your heroes don't have the same kind of teamfight impact, right? It's a lot harder for Disruptor to find the place that he wants without using an offensive glimpse. And as we've seen time and time again, he's been struggling to even get to play his hero. Maybe in the base, and with the Axe, they can, okay, they're gonna sleep into the Storm.
Yep, Static Storm is there. Blink Strike as well, the BKBs, but Disruption buys a lot of time, and he's A-okay as Ori, he's gonna get the instant kill onto Nothing to Say, who does not have buyback. And now they're gonna turn this around onto the Primal Beast. This looks like the beginning of the end of game number 1 as Aster have come back with a vengeance. They were down big time early, but ever since the Blink Dagger came from XXS, as the GGs come out, it was just one-sided. Just a crazy game.
Isn't it kind of ironic how we're talking about how Ricky either snowballs or gets crushed, and in this game he did both?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
He was really impressive when he wasn't in the fights, and then the instant he got the items to fight, looked really bad.
Yeah, I mean, credit primarily again here in this game to Aster doing an amazing job on playing defense on their own high grounds. And you know, this is what Drow lineups can do. If Drow stays alive in the fight and she gets to play, and you have Alina just playing secondary artillery, they really needed XXS to play a standout game. So thankfully for them, he did. I think